So I bought a used Hoss, and well, oh no. What happened? Okay guys, we're back. And we have a new used truck. I've been wanting to get a Hoss for a while. And I don't want to pay the $469.99 to buy one of these brand new. They've been out long enough. There's starting to be a lot of them out on the market for sale. But I started looking once I decided I wanted to try to get one. I love 10 scale monster trucks. It's my favorite class of RC basher. And I need a Traxxas. I did not want to pay the money because this truck out of the box is not the most durable 10 scale truck out there. And so for $469, we need a durable truck. So I noticed that Traxxas came out with this kit, extreme heavy duty outer driveline and suspension upgrade kit. And I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. How much is it? $120 for this suspension kit. I was like, well, if I can get a Hoss cheap enough and put all these parts on it, then it might actually make it worth the money that they're asking for it. So I started looking, ended up finding a used Hoss on eBay. Found many of them were going for $350, $375 plus shipping, getting up over $400 with shipping. That's still too much for a used one. I found this one that was listed as broken. The description, it only listed the knuckle was broken, which is the case. Easy fix, about a $10 part if I wasn't going to do an upgrade. If I was just going to buy this truck and wanted to drive it, the only thing I need to fix is the $10 knuckle, and we have it. I kept an eye on this truck. The listing came up really early in the morning, like 3:30 in the morning, which is also helpful because it was on an auction. Not a lot of people are up at that time, and I scored this thing for, with shipping, $300. That's a good price for these because they're going for more than that. So we got it for 300 bucks, shipped to here, and it's a project. Now we're going to turn it into what it should have come out of the box. Really keep a good eye out if you're buying used. Look at the pictures very closely. If you look at the pictures closely, you can notice it has RPM front A-arms, so it already has an upgraded part on it. Also had an upgraded servo on it, but I wasn't sure what kind of servo it is. Turns out it's a Savix servo. Upgraded Castle fan. Maybe not the best fan in the world, but it's another option that's added on there. The one thing I didn't notice is how bad the body was. In the picture, you could not see it. I was really thinking this body was in a lot better shape. They're still a popular truck. They're still new, current kit, and I think it's one I need to own. I like to upgrade my vehicles, so I want to do this so that I don't have any problems down the road. For the Hoss 4x4/4x4 and Rustler 4x4. Unfortunately, it is not for the Stampede. And I'm hoping I can figure out why that is not for the Stampede. Because if some of these parts fit the Stampede, would be pretty awesome. I'm going to open it up. You can get this in black, green, orange, red, blue. I went with the green because I guess I'm going to go with the green and blue body. Comes with the instruction manual for everything you need to do. I'll go over that if I need to in detail. Got full shock towers, metal hexes with 6mm hole, upgraded drive lines, and these things compared to the stock are huge. Full bearings, some hinge pins, upgraded larger bearings, looks like some kingpin screws, full drive line, and then we got the spindles, carriers, and rear hub carriers. I'm also going to paint a new body down the road, different video. We're going to do a body blue and green, and we also went and bought a new set of GTR shocks. We went with the green aluminum. I think they're kind of nice looking. Extra long fronts, long rears, and the recommended Traxxas black springs. for front and rear. Let's get tearing this thing apart. We got a lot of cleaning to do to get this thing, and when we're done, it's gonna look like brand new and better. Here we go. Okay, we basically got it stripped down. All this right here, we're not reusing. If you are not going to do shocks, you will be reusing the shocks over. You can see this thing is still filthy. I'm going to pull off the front and rear diffs. We're going to look inside of them, make sure everything's okay. I'm going to pull out the electronics real quick. And there we have a disassembled Hoss. I'm going through all the diffs, as I said. I'm going to go through all the diffs, check them all out. Spur gear looks pretty good. I'm going to see what's going on in here, see what's going on in the front. Completely wash and scrub this down. We're getting rid of all the mud. I like to run mine pretty well. Mine usually just get dusty, not muddy. Got to get rid of the mud. So yeah, I'm not going to bore you with the cleaning process. We're going to go ahead and get everything cleaned and scrubbed, put back together, and we will resume when we start putting on the extreme heavy duty parts. And go. And there we are, we're all cleaned up. Tore apart everything, every screw, disassembled it, scrubbed it with toothbrush, degreaser, washed it, dried it, blew it off with an air compressor, completely went through the diffs. Everything is in good shape. I found one part in the front diff here has some cracks in it. I super glued them for now. I'll get those parts coming, but it'll run with the way it is. All the electronics got completely pulled out and scrubbed and cleaned. Mounted the fan on the appropriate way. It wasn't even on there all the way. And we're to the point now to put on the extreme heavy duty suspension and driveline upgrade. We did put the RPM arms on the rear, and so now we have RPM arms, and we're ready to get some stuff installed. We're going to start out by throwing on the shock towers. Getting those bolted on, and then we're going to do the hubs and then drive lines. Here we go. Got the shock towers put on. You can use the original hardware, or the kit comes with its own new hardware bag that has everything in it that you need. It does come with oversized new bearings. Shock towers went on no problem. Put on the front links. They have to be sized smaller, down to 81 millimeters, according to the instructions. So those were resized. Put all of the turnbuckles so that the notch is in the same direction facing across the truck. Easier way for it to be adjusted if needed. Now I've run into an issue. I've started trying to mount the knuckles, just test fitting them before I filmed it, and these knuckles don't work good with the RPM arms. They bind up. So is what I've had to do to make them work so that they're more free. So I had to take my Dremel and relief a little bit inside the insides. They're a little tight. It squeezes like this on the knuckle. And then I had to relief a little bit of this flare right here. I had to get rid of a little bit of that and ream the hole out with a drill, with the knuckle and the arm lined up together. And that seems to have made a difference. Now I'm guessing after it's run a little bit, the rest of it will free up, so it'll be a little bit better. I blame it on these stupid pins. Traxxas is still using these screw pins. I hate these things. They've been using these things for 400 years. I don't like the pins, but it does come with new pins. They're longer, so you have to use new pins. You can't reuse the old ones. My suggestion is screw them in, get everything test fit to where it's free, back it out, put a little tiny dab of CA glue on the threads here, and then screw it back in. And that'll kind of help it from breaking free for a while. If you don't do that, they're eventually going to back out constantly. That's a big problem with these screw pins. So I found in the past that a little dab of CA will work. You don't need a lot, don't overdo it, just enough to hold it in place once it's tightened up. That should alleviate that. I think I've got the knuckles clearance enough. You can see I mounted the steering knuckles to the carriers with the step screws. It does come with new ones. You can use old ones. We've got to plop the bearings in them. We can get those, the screw pin put in. I would suggest getting the Traxxas heavy duty arms. They probably fit perfect. They probably work a little bit better. You don't have different tolerances to work with, but it does say on this heavy duty kit that some aftermarket accessories, even made by Traxxas, will not work with this kit, like sway bars and some different things. So definitely have to clearance the rear arms. Okay, now this is only if you're using RPM front and rear arms or RPM arms with this set. They seem to work fine with the factory stuff, with the original suspension hub carriers. If you're using them with this set, because they've added plastic here, RPM has thick plastic here, they're too tight. So in between the H-arm in the middle is where it's the tightest on the rear. You have to clearance that out some. My suggestion would be if you already have RPM arms, you can shave them out. If you don't, just by the heavy duty Traxxas arms, I'm sure that they work perfect. So you have to shave a little bit on the sides. So I had to use a drill bit and ream the hole out. So hold them together, drill all the way through a couple times. It feels like maybe RPM arms or something is just a slight twist in there, so the pin binds up and causes it not to want to move. But you can't just use them straight out of the box the way they are without shaving them. These rear ones are so tight that the arm won't even move. So you have to do that if you're going to use RPM arms. And so now we are ready to do drive shafts. That's our next step. So we got to pop all of our bearings in. There's the original. There's the size of the new one. Major difference. These are like, I believe these are max, 4S max size type shafts. Major difference. So on the drive shafts, you got a front and a rear. The double stepped one here is the rear. And this one here with just the more domed end, that is for the front. Inner spline pieces are all the same, so it doesn't matter front or rear. They are keyed. There's a spline, see that flat spot right there? You gotta line it up with the flat spot there. There's flat spots. Line it up with your diff. It comes with new longer pins so you don't reuse the old ones. And attach the links. I'm going with the GTR shocks, front and rear. I chose green, so maybe we got too much green going on. So I decided to go with the green. Now we're gonna get those. They're already pre-built, which is really nice. So all we gotta do is fill them, put the shocks on them, and install them. Let's do it. So this build is not complete, but we're done up to this point. So we've completely cleaned the used Hoss, went completely through everything. Everything's in tip-top shape. Got a little wear on the bumpers and the skid plates, but that's okay. I'm planning on running this. This is not a shelf queen. I am going to use it. Upgraded extreme heavy duty parts. We did the new aluminum GTR shocks. Those things are awesome to bleed and fill. We'll see how they hold up for leaking or anything else, but they were pretty awesome to work with. Very nice shock. The bodies come in 3 different versions for the Hoss, so they give you a little bit of a budget to work with. If you just want to do a plain truck body, you can do clear. You got to use your cage over. This one's 25 bucks. They have a Pro Graphics that's partially clear, so it has graphics on it. And then you paint the base coat underneath whatever color you want and then back it. That one is $39. And then they have the original body that comes with the cage already bolted in it, and it's pre-painted. They come in solar flare, green and orange, all kinds of different colors. Those ones are $69. So I decided to keep the budget low. I'm going to paint my own. And I'm going to go with the green theme still. Picked up some Proline paints, a little white backer. We're also going to put blue in it so we can kind of tie the blue and the green that's on the chassis, bring everything together. Yeah, and that's going to be in the next video. Please like, subscribe, and share. Hope you enjoyed this build. So next video is going to be cleaning them out in the tires, and paint the new body, and then after that we're going to do some running footage. Thanks for watching.